Hey everyone, welcome to the Branding Teacher, the place for entrepreneurs and small business owners to learn how to brand and market their businesses. I am Scott Burgess, and today I'll be teaching you how to figure out the font for your brand. Let's get into it. Fonts are something that's usually overlooked in the branding process by a lot of new business owners. They just think they can use whatever font that comes natural in Microsoft Word, like Times New Roman or an Arial, and get away with it looking great. This is something I don't think you should do. You need to take the time and invest and figure out which font looks best for your brand. There are a multitude of reasons as to why fonts are important. First, it conveys the look of your brand. Typically, the first thing you're notice about any brand is the actual font. It's what you're actually reading. Yes, visually how on the page it looks with the different graphics is important, but the actual content that you're consuming are words. So it's important for the words to look right on the page and make sure that it looks great for your brand. The second thing is that fonts can actually influence your mood. Yes, they can actually change how you feel about things. Certain types of fonts can convey different emotions. For example, all caps, that can be yelling. It's something that's very important. Bold, this is super important. You must pay attention to it. It can be all lowercase and be very subdued and be very light in thickness. And that can really come across more approachable and more warm. So there's so many different ways that the type of font you use and the typeface you're using and the actual thickness of the letters or the thinness or how they're designed and how they curve, that can all influence how people react to the words on page because that can actually help influence their moods. The third thing that fonts can do is actually add value to your text. For example, if there's something that's very important, a word or a phrase that I want to highlight in the body copy, I might make that bold and place it into a different color. That way your eyes are drawn there. The other way that fonts are important is it creates harmony throughout your whole brand. You should be using the same font across your entire brand. You can use variations of your fonts, and maybe it's a bold or a light or an italic, and you want to make sure there's consistency so that you're seeing the same bold and headlines on one part of your branding as you are the other. So it's important to make sure your font is even across the entire board. You would be surprised how many people can recognize your font in your branding as they get to know you. So when they see something out of place, it's going to trigger something is not right with this branding or this marketing piece, and it's going to take value away from it. The next way that fonts are important is that a font can actually attract your readers. As human beings, we are hardwired to be visual creatures. Whether it's the way we look, who we're attracted to, what we like visually in terms of our house or anything like that, we are visual creatures. So certain fonts will attract people. For me, I am more attracted to more modern fonts, and when I see a modern font, I automatically think that you are better at what you do than a traditional font. And I'll get a little more into that in a little bit in this video. So you can actually attract people based upon how your font looks. If it's visual appealing, they're more likely to stay on your page or stay on that marketing material and read the entire thing than if it is they can't read the font well, or if they don't like the font, it's going to turn them off. So you want to find something that's going to attract as many people as possible to your brand. And the final thing that fonts can do is actually bring around brand recognition. And I kind of touched on this on another point earlier, but people, as they get to know your brand, will actually recognize your branding. They will understand your marketing materials. They will understand your colors. They're going to understand your fonts. Everything about your brand, they will start to recognize. For example, you know what the Nike logo looks like. You know what font that Target uses or Apple uses. You recognize their branding because it's been ingrained in you. You see it everywhere. So as people start to see your brand more, they're going to get used to your font and really start to recognize it. So it's important to pick one that's going to be memorable. Now, there are two different types of fonts you can play with. You have serif and sans serif, but serif fonts are fonts that have a decorative line on the end of the letters. You will find that brands that use this type of font tend to be more traditional. Think banking, government, health, law. All those traditional brands tend to like this type of font. And to be honest, I hate serif fonts. I think they age your brand. I think they are hideous. They serve no purpose and they're harder to read. I don't think you should use a serif font. There are going to be people who are going to disagree with me that tell me that there's a time and place for serif and it's all about execution, but I'm going to wholeheartedly disagree. Don't use serif fonts. They are ugly. Rant over. You should be using a sans serif font. A sans serif font is a font that does not have a decorative line on the end of the letters. It's so much more beautiful. It's so much more modern, clean, easy to read, and simple. Every brand that I've worked with, I've changed their font to make sure it is a sans serif font. And any client I work with branding, I always recommend a sans serif font. And I've yet to have a client who has disagreed with me. Most people like sans serif fonts It's the way brand design has gone, and I don't ever see serif fonts coming back into play as mainstream as they were years ago. So that's my little rant about fonts. Use sans serif fonts and your brands will look so much better. Now, the final part of this video is how do you actually figure out your font? How do you go into design and determine which one you're going to use? First tool you can use is Adobe InDesign. It is preloaded with hundreds of fonts that Adobe has in there, and it's very easy to use. The second option, if you don't have access to Adobe Creative Cloud, is you can actually go to Google and use Google Fonts, and they will give you a plethora of fonts you can actually download and use for free. So what I'm going to do is actually hop on the computer and show you how to do this. The first way is in InDesign. Go ahead and let's make a text box, and go ahead over here to the font selection area of the workspace and click on that top drop down, and this is going to give you a plethora of fonts. So many fonts, serif fonts, sans serif fonts, fonts you can't even read. So you can just scroll through here and figure out which fonts you want to use. And the cool thing is if you type in here, say your business name, for this I'm gonna do the branding teacher. Go ahead and highlight it. And if you notice, if you reopen up that window, you will see the font, what it would actually look like with what you wrote on the screen. In this example, I'm just gonna go ahead and see which fonts I'm liking. I want something modern. Let's try Gil Sans. And if you notice, there is a second drop down right here where you can select different types of weights. You can do light, you can do regular, you can do semi-bold. So you can just go through and do this for a couple of different fonts to figure out which one you like best. And then once you're done, that is your font. And then you could play with it a little more, with the tracking, kerning, all that fun stuff. The second option is actually to open up Google and just type in fonts. And go ahead and click on Google Fonts. So you can come in here, you can browse through 1,358 different families of fonts just by scrolling through it. You can type in a sentence. So say I type in the branding teacher. It's going to show you exactly what it's going to look like on screen. You can change over here the actual size of it. So there's so many things you can do. And let's say I like Roboto over here on the top left. You can click on it and it's going to show you every single style that they have available for it. And you can actually go down and see all the glyphs they have about it, and you can download the family. So if I hit download, it's going to open up a zip file which will have the entire font family in it, and you can actually open it up and install it on your computer. It will work on any computer, Mac or PC. And that's it. That's how to select your fonts in a few easy steps using either Adobe Creative Cloud or Google Fonts. It's very easy to use. And if for some odd reason later down the road you decide that, hey, this font isn't right for my brand, that's okay. It's easy to change fonts. It's easy to go back and change marketing materials. It might be a little labor intensive, but if say a few months from now your brand isn't working, you're not liking how it's looking, changing your fonts is something easy. That's it. Thanks for tuning into the Branding Teacher today, and I'll see you later this week.